Doopy-doo-doo. Headphones, headphones. Let's put them off. Boom, boom. Are we live? Are we live? Hello, hello, hello. Hang on, I've unplugged these. There, hello? Yeah, we got sound. Let's turn off the effects. Mute. Okay, I think we're now dry signal. Hello, hello, welcome to another lesson. Little late today. I had a call at 3 till 4, so I needed to come in a bit later today. Let me just switch off the auto exposure on the camera. For some reason that renews every time. Slide that down to -6. There. Right, so today we're looking at the G chord. And I'm going to be looking at the 4-finger version of the G chord. Let me just bring up the web page. This one. The 4-finger G chord. Okay. So what is it saying here? They're calling it the Wonderwall G chord. You'll find this chord in songs like Wonderwall, in fact a lot of Oasis's songs and a lot of Taylor Swift songs. I know it more as the Bluegrass G, and I could go into the theory of why it works, but perhaps it's a little soon for that if you're a beginner. So, if you remember yesterday we talked about chord boxes and about how the thick part along the top of the box there corresponds to the nut on your guitar, which is where the fretboard joins the headstock, and the 6 vertical lines represent the strings, and the horizontal lines represent the frets. So the 4-finger G there, we've got finger number 2, which is your middle finger, on the 6th string, or the low E string, at the 3rd fret, which is actually a G note. Because if we count up from open E, F, F sharp, G, you'll see that finger number 4, which is the pinky in this case, is on the same fret on the 1st string, which is the high E. Counting up again gets us to G. So we've got a low G and a high G. So those are the root notes of the chord. Index finger on the 2nd fret of the 5th string. And that note is a B, so if we count up from A, B flat, B. And then we've got 2 open strings. If you see the little O's at the top of the box, they represent open strings. So we've got the D string and the G string. And then we get to the B string, and this is where the interesting thing happens. You'll see a lot of players, in fact I think probably in most chord books you'll see the G without the B string being fretted. So it's a 3-finger G. I prefer the 4-finger G, and that's what I teach. And the reason why it changes is because the open B is part of a G major chord, but so is the D, which is the 3rd fret of the B string. So both of those notes are part of a G major chord, and in a G major chord, or in any major chord, It's made up of the 1, the 3 and the 5, or the root, the 3rd and the 5th. And you can have as many instances of each of those notes as you like. It's still going to be a major chord. As long as those 3 notes are there, you have a major chord. So in this instance, we've got, with the 4-finger G, we've got a 1, a 3, a 5, a 1, a 3 and a 1. So there are 2/3, and it's the 3rd that actually makes it a major chord. Right, so let me switch to the Sony camera and put my lights on. Boom, boom. And I'll talk you through that in real time. Well, I've changed guitars today because I've got a wireless pickup here and a wireless mic. The only thing that's not wireless is the headphones, so there's only one cable to get wrapped around the chair today. So let's take a look at the G chord and how it looks on the fingerboard. Middle finger on the 3rd fret of the 6th string, index on the 2nd fret of the 5th string, ring finger on the 3rd fret of the 2nd string, and pinky on the 3rd fret of the 1st string. And there's our G chord. So just watch your posture. This is a tricky chord to grab. This is way trickier than the D chord that we did yesterday. We don't want to get any buzzing. So you remember that we placed our fingers close to the fret wire that's closer to the sound hole to give us a nice clean note. And you'll have to play with your positioning here. I've had a few pupils who've had trouble with this chord because of the pads on their finger here, the meaty bit of the finger here, muting certain strings. So adjust your elbow on your fretting hand. You can go back and forth, you can go side to side. You want to be relaxed. Remember, we spoke about that on the first day. Being relaxed is probably the most important thing that I've taught you so far. You're going to have to use your wrist a little bit to push your hand out so that you're not muting any of the strings. This is going to be your tricky one. Hear that? It's a little bit muted there. That's because the middle finger that's on the low E string is causing a bit of muting there on the next one, so you have to play around with your position to see that that doesn't happen. It's not vital, in fact. If you do mute it entirely, you're still getting a G chord. But it's actually a G power chord in this instance, with no 3rd, because that's our 3rd. So if you mute it, you end up with a power chord, which is just 1s and 5s, which is a nice chord itself. So where we were going with this was, you remember yesterday we did an arpeggio picking style on our D chord, which you can have a look back and see, but it's this triangle shape here. So we're on X, X, so those two strings don't get played in the D chord. O, 2, 3, 2. Okay, so that corresponds to open, 2nd fret, 3rd fret, 2nd fret. So it's X, X, O, 2, 3, 2. That's our D chord. And we're playing only strings 1 to 4, starting with the thumb, and we were picking this arpeggio pattern. So that's the first chord of REM's Everybody Hurts. When we play the G chord, we play the same pattern, but this time we're going to pick the low E string, which is our root, with the thumb. And again, the same fingers that we were using on the D chord on the same strings, So it's strings 1, 2 and 3, or 3, 2 and 1, depending on which way you're going. Sounds nice, doesn't it? So, we've learned the first two chords of REM's Everybody Hurts. Thanks for watching, folks, and join me again tomorrow, hopefully at 4. I don't think there's anything scheduled tomorrow afternoon, so I should be here for 4 o'clock tomorrow. See you then.